In this video, we are going to learn about a transformation that starts smaller. We need to think big, but the truth is found in the atoms. James Clear tells us that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your daily choices multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the months and years can be enormous. It is only when looking back that the value of good habits and the cost of bad ones becomes strikingly apparent. In the next few minutes, you will discover why small changes matter. James Clear explains this using the story of British cycling. For a century, the team was mediocre, winning almost nothing. That changed when they hired Dave Brailsford, who looked for the aggregation of marginal gains. He believed that if you improved every tiny detail of riding a bike by just 1%, those small wins would stack into a massive victory. They improved the bike seats, the racing suits, and even the type of pillow the riders use for sleep. This is the essence of an atomic habit. Within 5 years, they dominated the Olympics. This proves that you do not need a miracle. You need a system of small improvements. James Clear tells us that the same math applies to your life. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you will end up 37 times better by the time you are done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for a year, you will decline nearly down to zero. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much more. However, progress is rarely linear. Most of us expect to see results immediately, but habits often involve a delay. James Clear tells us about the plateau of latent potential. Imagine an ice cube in a cold room. You heat the room slowly. Nothing happens at 30 degrees or 31 degrees. But at 32 degrees, the ice melts. The breakthrough was not caused by the last degree of heat, but by all the energy stored before it. Your habits work the same way. In the next few minutes, we will look at why you should stop focusing on goals. We are taught that winners have big goals, but James Clear points out that losers have the exact same goals. The goal is not what makes the difference. It is the system you follow. Goals are about the results you want to achieve, while systems are about the processes that lead to those results. If you are a coach, your goal is to win a championship, but your system is how you practice. If you focus only on the system, the results take care of themselves. Achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. To improve for good, you must solve problems at the systems level. Fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. This is the foundation of your atomic journey to success. It starts today. Chapter 1. The first law. Make it obvious. James Clear tells us that the first law of behavior change is to make the cues of your good habits as visible as possible. Many of our daily actions are so automatic that we no longer notice them. We move through our mornings and evenings on autopilot, never stopping to question why we do what we do. To build new habits or break old ones, we must first bring these subconscious actions into the light of our conscious mind. James Clear tells us that one of the most effective ways to do this is through a technique called the habit scorecard. This is a simple exercise where you list every single thing you do from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep. You look at each action and ask if it is a positive, negative, or neutral habit. This awareness is the essential first step because you cannot change what you do not notice. Once you have a clear map of your current behavior, you can begin to design a better path forward. You will soon discover how to remove the mystery from your progress. Most people think they lack motivation when they actually lack clarity. They say they want to eat healthier or work out more, but they never define exactly when or where these actions will happen. James Clear tells us that you should use implementation intentions to fix this. You use a specific formula. I will perform a specific behavior at a specific time in a specific location. For example, instead of saying you will meditate, you say, I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 in the morning in my kitchen. By being this specific, you remove the need to make a decision when the time comes. You do not have to wait for inspiration to strike. You simply follow the plan you have already created. Another powerful method is habit stacking. This is the act of tying a new habit to an existing one that is already wired into your brain. After I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. This uses the momentum of your current life to carry you into your new routines. You will see how your surroundings shape your choices. James Clear tells us that environment design is a secret weapon for success. We like to think we are in control, but we are often just responding to the cues around us. If there are cookies on the counter, you will eat them. If your phone is next to your bed, you will check it. Stop trying to be a person of strong willpower and start being a designer of your world. If you want to practice guitar, put the guitar stand in the middle of your living room. Make the cues of your good habits as visible as possible while making the cues of your bad habits completely invisible. This is how you make success the path of least resistance. By controlling your environment, you control your future. We are now ready to move deeper into the strategy of how habits are formed and how to make them truly irresistible for the long term. This is the foundation of your new life. Chapter 2, the second law, make it attractive. You are now entering the realm of motivation and desire. James Clear tells us that the more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit-forming. To understand how to make a habit irresistible, we must first understand the role of dopamine in the brain. For years, scientists believed dopamine was only about pleasure, but we now know it is primarily about anticipation. It is the craving that drives us to act. James Clear tells us that our brains have far more neural circuitry allocated for wanting rewards than for liking them. This means that the expectation of a rewarding experience is often more powerful than the experience itself. You can use this to your advantage through a strategy called temptation bundling. This involves linking an action you need to do with an action you want to do. For example, you might only allow yourself to watch your favorite show while you are folding laundry. By pairing a difficult task with something you already enjoy, you create a positive association that pulls you forward. James Clear tells us that when you bundle your temptations, you are hacking your brain's reward system to make hard habits feel like something you actually want to do. This reduces the mental friction required to get started and keeps you consistent over time. Beyond your internal chemistry, your social environment plays a massive role in what you find attractive. We are social creatures who have a deep-seated need to belong. Because of this, we tend to adopt the habits of the people around us. We especially imitate the habits of 3 groups: the close, the many, and the powerful. If you want to build better habits, one of the most effective things you can do is join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. If you want to become a reader, join a book club. If you want to get in shape, join a running group. When you see people you admire doing the things you want to do, those behaviors become much more attractive to you. James Clear tells us that nothing sustains motivation quite like belonging to a tribe. When your identity is tied to the group, your habits are no longer just a chore. They are a way of life. You can also use a mindset shift to make difficult habits more appealing. Instead of saying, "I have to go for a run," say, "I get to build my endurance and strength." By changing just one word, you shift your perspective from a burden to an opportunity. You can even create a motivation ritual by performing a short, enjoyable routine immediately before a difficult habit. This creates a mental trigger that tells your brain it is time to perform. By making your habits attractive, you ensure that you are not just pushing yourself with willpower, but being pulled toward your goals by desire. This is the secret to staying consistent when the initial excitement fades away. You are building a world where the right choices feel good. Chapter 3, the third law, make it easy. James Clear tells us that human behavior follows the law of least effort. We naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. This means that if you want to make a habit stick, you must make it so easy that you can do it even when you are exhausted. Many people think they need to master the most difficult version of a habit from day one, but this is a mistake. James Clear tells us that the most effective way to start is with the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. When you start a new habit, It should take less than 2 minutes to do. A habit must be established before it can be improved. If you cannot learn the basic skill of showing up, you will never have the chance to master the finer details. For example, instead of trying to run 5 miles, your habit is simply to put on your running shoes. Instead of studying for 3 hours, your habit is to open your notebook. By scaling your habits down, you make them impossible to fail. You are not trying to do the whole task. You are simply mastering the art of starting. Once the first 2 minutes become automatic, the rest of the habit often follows naturally. Another essential strategy for making habits easy is prime the environment for future use. James Clear tells us that you should look at your surroundings and ask how you can design them to make your next action effortless. If you want to eat a healthy breakfast, chop the vegetables the night before. If you want to draw more, put your sketchbook and pencils on top of your desk where they are easy to reach. This is called reducing friction. Conversely, if you want to break a bad habit, you should increase friction. If you watch too much television, unplug it after every use and take the batteries out of the remote. The more steps that exist between you and the behavior, the less likely you are to do it. James Clear tells us that small obstacles can make a massive difference in our choices. We are often more influenced by the convenience of a behavior than by its importance. By removing the tiny points of friction that hold you back, you clear the path for your better self. You stop fighting against your environment and start working with it. This is not about being lazy. It is about being smart with your energy. You want to save your willpower for the things that truly matter rather than wasting it on the simple act of getting started. When the right path is the easiest path, you will find yourself walking it more often. You are creating a system where success is the default setting. By simplifying your movements and preparing your space, you ensure that your good habits are not just possible, but inevitable. The goal is to make the action so simple that you do not even need to think about it. You are paving a smooth road toward the person you wish to become, one small step at a time. This ease is what allows a habit to survive the long journey of life. Chapter 4. The fourth law. Make it satisfying. James Clear tells us that the first 3 laws increase the odds that a behavior will be performed this time, but the fourth law increases the odds that a behavior will be repeated next time. Our brains evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed rewards. This is the cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated, and what is immediately punished is avoided. The problem is that for most good habits, the reward is in the distant future. You don't get a six-pack after one workout, and you don't save a fortune after one day of budgeting. To bridge this gap, you must add a little bit of immediate pleasure to your good habits. James Clear tells us that you can use a habit tracker to make progress, feel visual and satisfying. Every time you finish your habit, you cross it off on a calendar. This simple act of marking an X creates a small hit of dopamine and provides visual evidence that you are becoming the type of person you want to be. It keeps you motivated on the days when the scale doesn't move or the work feels slow. James Clear tells us that when this happens, you must follow one simple rule: never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. The pro shows up especially on the days they do not feel like it. Even if you only do 1 minute of work, you are casting a vote for your identity. In addition to making good habits satisfying, you must make bad habits unsatisfying. You can do this by creating a habit contract or having an accountability partner. When the cost of a mistake is immediate and public, you are much more likely to stay on track. James Clear tells us that we care deeply about what others think of us, and we do not want to be seen as lazy or unreliable. By adding an immediate consequence to your bad habits, you make them much harder to justify. As you move forward, you should also focus on the Goldilocks rule. This rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, but just right. If a habit is too easy, you get bored. If it is too hard, you give up. By staying in the Goldilocks zone, you keep the flow of progress alive. In conclusion, your life is the sum of your atomic habits. These tiny routines may seem insignificant today, but they are the building blocks of your future self. You have learned how to make your cues obvious, your cravings attractive, your actions easy, and your reward satisfying. Success is not a destination to be reached or a finish line to be crossed. It is a system of continuous improvement and a commitment to getting 1% better every single day. You now have the tools to design your environment, shift your identity, and master the art of showing up. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single atomic step. It is time to start your transformation.